So Bill, I started opening for Bill like '08, like a lot, like where he would just be, hey, I'm in DC, mainly on the East Coast, because he had his West Coast guys, you know. So the Patrice thing happens where they fucking set him up. They set Bill up. What happened with Opie and Anthony was Bill called up, and then like, hey, dude, so what happened? And Bill just goes, what did that cocksucker say? And then they tell him, Opie and Anthony tell Bill what Patrice had said, right? And then all of a sudden, I didn't like this. They blindsided Bill, and they go, well, we got him on the line, Patrice.
Oh, and that's what it was. He was on the phone, too. I thought one of them was in the studio.
He was on the phone.
Yeah, I remember that.
So now Bill is like, that fuck, he said this, and all of a sudden, they blindside Bill, and all of a sudden, they're talking. Now, okay, I get the call to open for Patrice for a whole weekend and Bananas in Hasbrook Heights.
Sure.
Okay? And it's Opie and Anthony crowd. The parking lot's filled. The place is packed. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm going like, you know, Bill, I'm so loyal to Bill. It would be like, I'm trying to think of like when somebody brings somebody under their wing. It's
I'm
like,
telling you right now, if you wouldn't have been in comedy, if you would have been born 2 decades earlier, maybe, you would have been the perfect mafia soldier. In the world, because of your loyalty and shit, the way you're like, you don't cross the family. You could have said that.
No, but the Sicilian, it's really, I can't.
I mean, it really
and
is.
It's funny.
You could see it being like, yeah, dude, you be a made man.
Because of that text you sent me at Carnegie Hall, I would hurt somebody for you. Dude, I would hurt somebody for you. I love you so much that I was like, dude, Soder? Let's go. Get in the car.
But you were saying,
but I had that loyal thing. So I was like, and I also had the thing of Patrice would call people out. Patrice would make fun of people. So I go into Bananas, and I never forget this. I was like, man, fuck that. What is he? If he says something to me like, fuck him, I'll call the.
I love those car rides.
And I'm literally going,
where you're like mapping it out.
No, I'm mapping it out, and I'm going like, you know, rest his soul. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but in my mind, I'm going like, yeah, you fat fuck, like all this thing, right?
Yeah.
And I never forget. He's just quiet sitting there at the comics table in the back of Bananas, and
in the restaurant.
In the back.
They didn't have a green room.
He just goes, and I just go, hey man, like, and he was just, hey, he nodded. He was just very quiet and shy. And now all of a sudden I'm completely diffused.
You're like, why did I get all
and like
mad?
the place is, and then all of a sudden I was just like, oh man, this is packed, man. Congrats or something. And he was like, yeah, it's pretty good. He was and then the host goes up, and this was around Chappelle's show.
Yeah.
So when the host goes up, the host has a hard time, and somebody in the crowd was like, wrap it up, you know, like, you know, something like that. And I kind of felt bad for the kid. And then I went up, and I had a monster set, and I walk off, and Patrice is by me, and he looks at me, and I swear to God, I'll never forget his face, and he just goes, and he gives me a thumbs up, and he goes like this. Then at Comics, he was working, and Harris Stanton was opening, and they put me, and Ryan Reese was hosting.
Okay.
So it was Ryan Reese, Harris Stanton, and Patrice. This is a couple months later in a blizzard, in a fucking blizzard, right? And they were like, do a guest spot. So I do a guest spot, and then there's a blizzard outside. Now, Patrice said one of the most amazing things. He's the only guy that would say something so profound and get a clap break, and then be like, so does she eat ass? Like it was like that, right?
Yeah.
And he did that thing where he was like, we cheat on you because we love you. And the way he said that, right? I'll never forget this. This is the greatest Patrice Oneal thing. And it let me know what Bill and all the people that talked about him talked about. I'm in the green room, and it's Patrice, and it's his agent, and it's all these people, and there's like an entourage. And then D.L. Hughley is sitting next to Patrice, okay? And he's D.L. Hughley. Like
He's a king of comedy.
And when Patrice talked, D.L. Hughley was sitting there with his head down, just looking, nodding, and listening. And I'm watching this guy hold court who, compared to D.L. Hughley, nobody really knows. And if you know, you know. But if you don't know, you don't. And he's holding court. And when I tell you, like, D.L. Hughley is the big star in the room, and dude, he totally gave the ball.
And he's like, go score, dude.
Yeah, go score. And then at the end, we waited. I don't know if they were smoking weed. The door was locked, but my pea coat was in there. And it was just Patrice and like a couple people. And I just knock. And I just, and I go, yeah, man, I'm sorry. I did a guess, but my coat's in there. He just goes, what's it look like? And I go, it's blue with the big. And he just, a hand comes out. He gives it to me. So I'm by the bar waiting. He finally comes out. And I go, hey, dude. I go, thank you so much for the spot. He goes, no, thank you. And I was like, yeah, I hope if you've been nice. He goes, yeah, you look familiar. And I never forget, I said to him, I go, dude, I'll be honest with you, man. I knew you were good. And then I pointed to the showroom, and I go, but I didn't know you were that good. And he just goes, ha ha. He laughed like that.
That's great.
And then we took a picture. That's the last time. And I think he passed away not too long after that. But when he gave me the thumbs up and did that, and just did that, it was just one of those things where it was like, this is a guy I thought could make fun of me. This is a guy. Now I'm also worried because I'm Bill's tick. And it was just like, and you go like, you know, none of that matters.